I would say, as a female, I don't think there should, personally, so I can't speak for the general public. I would say, in my opinion, I don't think there should be any limitation as a woman or as a female to learning. I mean, as long as you have access to certain tools and certain, is it your laptop, you have your internet, you have the website and all that. There should be no limitation just because you're a woman in learning.
Hi everyone, my name is Babatunde Fatai. Welcome to another episode of Extra Atlas Podcast. On this episode, I'm speaking with Esther Ikoko, an awesome 3D modeler, game developer, and artist in the creative ecosystem in Africa. Some of the things I and Esther talked about was actually how hard it was for ladies to break into this male-dominated ecosystem. Some of the barriers she had to conquer to be able to become someone that is thriving in the ecosystem. As a lady, one of the key things that we talked about was overcoming the victim mentality. The discrimination is very obvious, yet Esther has demonstrated in many ways the ways that a lady can actually break into the ecosystem and overcome the barriers. I hope this motivates all ladies and guys out there, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Welcome to the show, Esther.
Thanks for having me.
How is your surname pronounced?
My surname is pronounced Ikoko. Yeah.
Okay, and you said you were from?
I'm from Delta State, Urobo to be precise.
Interesting. Yeah. Can you tell us a bit more about your background?
Okay, so I'll start with my professional background. I'll say I started my career in the film space, most especially as an editor. So I've been there for over 5 years, and I guess in 2020, was it 2021 or 2022, I wanted to have a career switch. So I wanted to be fully more in the tech space. So yeah, then I wanted to learn about immersive technologies, game development, and yeah, I'd say I've pretty found myself in that space now.
How was the pivot from video editing? Video editing to game development or 3D modeling?
Okay, I would say, first of all, as someone who is in the creative space already, so I already have the creative knacks for, and I already know how to use tools. So I would say learning Blender and learning Blender was a bittersweet experience because aside the fact that you get to be creative, to create stuff. I mean, it had some technical challenging I would say sectors that you had to master, you had to understand. So yeah, it was a bittersweet journey.
What did you think inspired the switch?
Okay. I would say just the need to do more, to be more, and also because I realized that it's people who are in the tech space, who are really
making the money.
Making the money.
Have you started making the money?
I'd say I've had some opportunities.
They are better than if you were just a video editor.
Yeah, not more because it's from an international opportunity you get. So it's not based on our currency differences. So it's not it would have been better if we were on equal grounds. But yeah, so I've had a few opportunities.
Okay, for your video editing, you spent so much time there.
Yeah.
At least 3 years. I think you spent more time there than you've spent 3D modeling.
Yes.
So what was the workflow like before we jump into 3D modeling? What was it like being a video editor? Were you part of the video creation process, or did you just get the videos to edit? And what sort of tools did you use?
I would say I'll start with I have been in the video editing space. This is my sister, so I would say I'm pretty a master of my skill at this point. Like I said, I have worked also as a producer. So I've also been part of the creation space, but mostly in post-production. Yeah. So it's been a good journey because, most of the creativity comes from the post-production. And it gives you the ability, to create And yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. And then so tools that I use currently, I make use of Premiere Pro, I make use of After Effects, I make use of Photoshop, and sometimes Illustrator.
I see.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do those skills, I know it's a no-brainer, those skills should definitely come useful now in this particular line of profession. So do they come in useful?
Yeah, it does.
So
It
at the
does.
end of the day, I don't think anything is truly wasted.
No,
Like
no, not at
nothing.
all.
Yeah,
No, it's been very, very beneficial.
right. Okay, so for your switch, what core skills did you switch into? What did you try to learn, or what have you learned?
Okay, what so funny enough, I've pretty dabbled into a lot during my switch. I've learned I'll say I've learned social AR, created tons of filters on Metaspark. I've even used Unity, to try to learn I guess AR also. And then I did virtual reality with Unreal, and then recently game development in Unreal and UEFN. So yeah, although I'm still trying to like, okay, find that particular niche I want to stick with. Well, yeah, I've pretty like moved through. Yeah.
Which do you think your best is?
Okay, I'll say my best is first of all, I know how to like model now, like so I could call myself a 3D artist. Um, and then I think I'll say game development and virtual reality, because I mean, there virtual reality and game development is,
Intertwined.
yeah.
It's just like where you are deploying to
Yes,
at the end of
yes,
the day.
yes.
Okay, so 3D modeling, quite an interesting one. What tool do you use?
Blender.
Blender is very versatile, isn't it?
Yeah. It is, and it's free, So
Yeah. Okay, so for 3D modeling, what do you think the biggest challenge has been for you in trying to acquire that knowledge?
okay, so I'll say first of all, before one could actually say you're a 3D artist, you have to like master the full workflow of from the beginning to like to the output. So it's not just about the modeling, it's about also texturing, having knowing how to like properly unwrap your texture, knowing how to like your poly count. So wherever you're deploying your model, is it for a game engine so it's not too heavy, and your topography, if you're going to get it animated, it has to so it's the workflow. I would say it's mastering everything so you could be like, yeah, a good 3D artist. So
I see.
the
So
whole
what
process.
you are saying is the 3D modeling, the UV unwrapping, the rigging for animation, or all those things.
You don't even necessarily have to talk about the rigging, you understand? But you have to know how to have good topology, sorry, so that the rigger, or if you're the one rigging, you can have like, a good rigged skeletal character and model.
Right.
Yes.
So I know people are like focused on, at least myself in modeling. I know
Okay.
that people are focused on key parts. There are people that can model clothing materials. There are people that cannot. There are a
Yeah.
lot of people that even cannot, that they would not touch clothing.
Yeah.
There are even people that can model full body and they will not touch facial expression, because that's another thing entirely.
Yeah.
So do you have a specific, are there things you see as something you will probably still pick up, or something you are yet to learn around that line?
Okay, so while I still do modeling, I sculpt. I actually love sculpting because I think it's therapeutic. But one thing that I want to like learn properly is I want to learn how to use certain softwares for like clothing, like you mentioned. Yeah. So I want to learn how to use Clothes 3D. I don't know if you know about it. So I want to learn how to use Clothes 3D so I could actually make like realistic, clothes with proper simulation and all that. So
I see. But you can also simulate clothes on Blender.
yes.
But you are saying clothes 3D is because it's more focused
I
in that
think,
regard.
yeah, I've heard from like people who do those things like, oh no, use clothes reading, and clothing. I've tried using clothing in Blender, like creating clothing. I've done that, but I think clothes 3D is like, will make it easier. I think that's just
Would
it's
you be able to
specialized.
import your workflow from Clothes
Yeah.
3D to Blender
and
Have you
then back.
used Maya before?
No, I haven't. Yeah,
You
I
don't plan
haven't.
on? I don't think
Um,
you should. If you are good with Blender, there is no need.
okay.
Because I learned 3D modeling with Maya. I
Mm-hmm.
wished it was Blender.
Why?
Then Blender was still. Why did I learn 3D
No,
with
why
Maya?
did you wish? I mean,
No,
Maya's
because
good.
okay, oh, okay. So Maya is
Well,
good,
so I hear.
but as at that time, Blender was just coming up. That was when I was learning, but it became not free. That's Maya, because then I
Yeah.
was using student license and things like that, and we learnt on that student license. But immediately I left school, or around the time I was leaving school, that was when it became paid. And I also, and on Maya, we did not even texture on Maya. I textured on Substance Painter, which
Okay.
was very good. But
Yeah.
I found out that people that went their way out of their way to learn Blender then, because it was just coming up, they could even texture on Blender. They
Yeah,
could
you
do
could do
so many
every. Yeah,
things,
you could do
or
so many
probably
things.
everything
Yeah, on
on
Blender.
Blender,
Yes, you
right? So,
can.
but we broke our workflow because you could just maybe you could still texture on Maya, but I don't think it was good enough. But we had to learn Substance Painter,
Okay.
so we had to break our workflow, and then trying to uh, start learning Blender while facing the workforce. I did not
Yeah.
just. I just wanted
Yeah.
to stick with my
Your
Maya.
Maya.
Right.
I get that totally. I do get that. I
Are
get
there
that.
any gender-specific challenges in your learning, in you trying to like either switch to this new career or learning Blender?
Okay, is it in the learning or is it like trying to break into the market? Which
Let's touch both.
I would say, as a female, I don't think they should. Personally, so I can't speak for the general public. I would say, in my opinion, I don't think there should be any limitation as a woman or as a female to learning. I mean, as long as you have access to certain tools and certain, is it your laptop? You have your internet. You have the website and all that. There should be no limitation just because you're a woman in learning.
Right, and the other trying to break into the
Yeah, and then trying to break into the labor market or the job market. I mean, that's a different ball game because I mean that's not just you. That's you versus the markets, you versus, total strangers who have certain biases and all that. So I think once you have, as a lady, if you have a good, strong portfolio, and most times when you apply for jobs, they always give you something to do. You understand, to test you, to see your technical abilities. And once I feel you can prove beyond, their doubt that yes, I'm up for the task, I can deliver. I don't think, yeah, except maybe if you're black and you're applying to the white market.
now. That's so there is a new dimension to it. It's not just about being a woman, it's
Yeah,
also about being black.
yeah.
So what's sort of um, I'm also familiar with that pushback if you were black, but I want to hear from you. What sort of barrier do you think um, that's as I don't know that places before creatives, black creatives?
Okay, I would say the black creatives in black countries, we have black creatives in the international countries. So black creatives, for example, in Nigeria and all that, I think they mostly, based on, I would say, how our society is, we have a lot of challenges. Okay, for example, maybe most times you don't even have electricity and all that, and then you're a creative who's just trying to get up on your feet. You don't have maybe access to like steady power, and then these people, I believe they've had some experiences with people from our country and maybe they're not able to deliver because of one challenge or the other. So I think based on the stereotype they have, I think we're not usually favored when we're applying, except maybe you're really, they can't even like, oh, look away from your portfolio. But if you're just like a regular person with a decent portfolio, most times it's really not easy, except maybe you have a direct access to someone.
Right. So there are two things to that. First and foremost, it is the fact that you have to try twice as hard
Yeah.
as non-blacks or black creatives that are not from Africa. You have to try twice as
Yes.
hard,
Yes,
right,
yes, yes.
as them. That's one. Forgotten the second point though. Uh, but okay, so quite interesting. For what do you think, ladies that are trying to break into because currently the 3D gaming ecosystem is male dominated, and I don't think there is like a specific push within the ecosystem that it should just be male dominated. So the point is now, what do you think ladies should do in terms of trying to break into the ecosystem? What are the steps do you think? Because here you are, you're already in the ecosystem. It's majorly male dominated, but you are surviving. Not just surviving, you are thriving. So what do you think women breaking into the ecosystem, what should they do?
Okay, yeah. Okay, so I think women breaking into any male dominated system, first of all, is to apply yourself. I'm going to give an example of when I started my journey, first of all, in film, as an editor. It used to be like a very male dominated field, post production. But I can tell you that for a fact that when I applied myself and, keep working, it was tough. I'm not even going to lie, it was tough. But when I applied myself, tried to learn, because when I applied myself, I didn't even just try to like stay, I wanted to learn video editing. Then I went as far as, let me learn motion graphics, let me learn 2D. That like gave me an edge. So even when I go for interviews, and then people today, it's always something like, she has something extra to offer. Do you understand? So I've been to interviews whereby I could be the only female and there are 10 guys, and I end up getting picked because yes, she has something to offer. My current place of work, it wasn't just, most of the male there just knew how to edit, but then I had 2D and I had 3D. You understand? So I gave myself that edge. So as a woman trying to break into the gaming sector, I would say you have to apply yourself. You have to learn. There are lots of resources, a lot of tools, there are a lot of tech women empowered programs that are willing to like train you for free. You just have to like apply. You have to, and not just apply, you also have to apply yourself during training and after training.
Interesting. You were talking about some female-oriented programs.
Yeah.
Can you speak to one that you've been part of?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I have been a part of the first one was the Women Tech Stars powered by Tech for Dev, and then the second one was by Epic Games, the Women Creators Program. So
Yeah. Expand more on them. So
okay.
what did you guys do?
Okay, so in the first one, it was a 1 year fellowship. Yeah, that's where I learned 3D.
That's Women in Techstars.
Women Tech Stars.
Women Techstars.
Yeah, powered by Tech for Dev. So that's why I learned 3D and 3D modeling and all that. And then it's during the Women Creators Program powered by Epic Games that I learned more about game development. I learned, world level design, world building. And then the funny thing, because I was already in the media space, so I already knew about cinematics, and because that's also a part in gaming. So I aced it, because I was beginning. I just had to know how to use the tools and all that. So there are a lot of programs, there are others that I wasn't a part of, but they're all over the internet that you could apply for.
I see. So you would say for those trying to that's for the ladies trying to break in, there are opportunities out there for you to learn that you can leverage on.
Yeah.
Right. And you also need to give yourself that edge, knowing that
stuff out there.
Yeah. Knowing that the game already counts against you in some way.
Yes.
I don't want to say that. Right?
Yes. But, no, it does. You should say that because they always feel like, she won't be good enough,
Right. Have you faced any instance of that, of a discrimination in any way? Or do you think it's a perception thing?
It's not a perception thing. Like I would say, right? It's because I wouldn't say I have faced it so much, because even if you have that certain bias towards me, right? And then when you give me a chance, it doesn't take too long for me to prove myself to you and let you give you that confidence that yes, okay, I made the right choice and all that.
I see. I see. So you've sharpened your skill to the point where if you are given a chance, I guess where most ladies find it hard is actually the opportunity to be given a chance.
Yes.
Right? Which is rare. Interesting.
But then if you have a good portfolio, I think at least you should be able to get yourself into the door to to prove yourself.
So, I'm actually trying to understand that discrimination to a large extent because I know it
Yeah,
exists,
exactly. Yeah.
but I cannot fully grasp why. And the reason I cannot grasp why is because throughout my professional career so far, I've always had like lady bosses. Right? I worked at PwC. The director there, Adari Kefe, was a lady, and I cannot say there is any male there that does a better work
Then she
than she does, right? 100%. And even here at MTN too, my senior manager, not general manager, she is a lady, and there is no way in hell like you would say there is a guy that works better than her. In fact, she's even more motivated. She's more skilled than anyone, Bukola Ajayi. So the point now is I don't get the discrimination to a large extent because it just seems stupid.
No,
to a
let
large
me
extent.
say something. Now, these people you've mentioned, these are people who over time have proven, they've set a track record. So most times their work already speaks for them. You understand? Because I'm sure when they started, when they were starting in their grassroots, their story it's not what it is now. You get? So I would say for myself right now, I'm not there yet where those people you mentioned, but I'm not where I used to be. Do you understand? Like I said, I wouldn't say I have faced that bias so much. Why? Because I told you that I always had something extra. I always made sure that when I'm coming somewhere, I had something so that I had that edge over my male counterparts.
I see.
Yes. So so those women, I mean, they're awesome. From the sound of what you said, they're awesome, totally awesome. But I'm sure it's because of over time they've built themselves. Like you said, you don't think there's any man who are more skilled. That's because she has applied herself, told and put in the work.
So no matter the gender, no matter the color, no matter who
Yes.
you are, at the end of the day,
Yes.
you should still look for that edge.
Yes.
And you should sharpen it as much as you can.
Yes.
Interesting. What can you talk us through a project, any random projects that you worked on, maybe in recent times, or one project that you were most excited about?
Okay. Yeah. Sure. So I'm going to talk about. So would I say that I have me and a team of women. We have a game on Fortnite. Although it's not been released yet because we're trying to build the next level and take the game up and all that. I'm excited about this particular project because it was an international collaboration, different women from all over the world working remotely, trying to put in their creative minds together.
What's the name?
Oh, it's the Women Creators Program. This is the name of the game or what?
Yeah.
Or the program?
So first, the program is Women's Creators Program.
Yeah, by Epic
so
Games.
that people that are interested would look that up.
Yes, you can try applying next year. So
right.
this year, because I
So
did that last year.
how about the game?
So yeah, the game. So we wanted to do something different. My team and I. We didn't want to when people think about games on console real high-end games, most time they think about violence, shooting and all that, killing and combat. But we wanted to do something, something about nature, something that speaks about what's happening. So our game was more focused on climate change. So it's if we read the brief of the game, so we talk about how things are species in a lot of life are going out of extinction, and then we as humans, we have it's our duty to preserve our ecosystem and all that. So the game was about healing nature, restoring balance. So yeah, it wasn't a win or lose, it was an adventure game, exploration game. Sorry, would I have to?
No, you can't continue.
Okay, it was an exploration game, adventure. It's not a win or lose situation. It's just you having a good time, restoring balance, and all that, making the world a beautiful place once again. So yeah.
Interesting. I see how, at the risk of sounding biased, I see how
Oh my days.
I see how that could be like a sort of creation from ladies because, like you've said, I said at the risk of sounding biased. Like you said, the things you've mentioned so far are actually something that I would actually be curious to play because it deviates away from the conventional, right?
Yes.
So I find a sort of ingenuity to it, right?
Yes.
So and uniqueness also to it. I would
Yes.
say.
But don't get me wrong. I mean, there are lots of other teams who created like violent
I know. I
gameplays.
was going to get to that. I wanted
Yeah.
to say, like, when it comes to either game development or even top game players,
Yeah.
I know many ladies that have down to be violent, very,
Oh
very
my God.
down to be
Yeah.
violent,
True. True. True.
right? What has the collaboration been like in terms of you guys collaborating? Is it that there are some people that are just focused on 3D modeling, someone on scripting? Like, what is the dynamics like?
Okay, yeah. So, like in every collaboration, it's good to have like work roles where just to like, okay, yeah. So we had some persons, in as much as it's not limit what you're assigned to, it's not limited to just that. You could still collaborate on something else, but we give like specific roles. So like I was in 3D and cinematics, because I chose that because of my experience in film. And yeah, so we had some person who were in game mechanics because yeah, they were really like game programmers and all that. We had some person who were in level designs who like it doesn't mean that you were limited to that role, but we were just like okay, yes, so that we
To
have
be
someone
responsible for
yes
it
for
so that
yes.
if it is not delivered, we'll say, oh, these two people are supposed to be the ones that are
Yeah,
responsible for it.
something like that. Yeah,
Right.
just to like get the workflow. Yes. So, but in irrespective, regardless of what was given, we all still like worked through each other's, yeah,
Interesting. So you said you were in charge of 3D and
cinematics.
cinematics.
Yeah, I
Can you break that down in terms of what that entails? 3D is probably 3D modeling of
yes, and
characters
then
and things,
animation
but
and yeah,
please
yeah.
break it down.
Okay. So the are you talking about
3D modeling and cinematics, is cinematics like putting together like I
okay,
want
yeah,
to
yeah,
understand
yeah.
more.
Okay, so first of all, the 3D modeling, although in Fortnite you really do not need external assets. In the Unreal editor for Fortnite, it's a whole world with you have access to a lot of things. You get, but just in case you want some personalized assets, yes, that's why okay, I come in and all that. And then for cinematics, when you're playing a game and then you see some visuals, like it's not really a gameplay, it's not you playing, just you're seeing some maybe interaction, some storylines, camera movement showing stuff. Yeah, so that's where I come in.
That's
So
what
it's
cinematics.
storytelling.
But isn't that what level design is supposed to be? Tell me.
Okay, so level design, it's you designing, the aesthetics, designing the level,
So when you say
the
level
map.
design, we are talking about what you see, the map, the
Yes, yes, yeah.
ground,
When you're
the
playing, yes, the
environment,
environment, yes. When you're
right?
playing through your
Right. So
island and
the,
all
the
that.
cinematics you are talking about now is probably how the player is followed throughout that level.
Not necessarily. For example, now maybe the player has a quest, so and then maybe he triggers something, and then you see like a whole visuals, maybe telling him, oh, so like for example in our game when the player starts, when the player spawns up and all that, you get to see the storyline of that gameplay. You get to see like oh. You see someone who's sick, you're hearing that, oh, this person, you're seeing everywhere, it's falling apart. So you're seeing, it gives you that visual understanding and all that. So maybe when you go to a certain place, it just gives you some idea. Maybe you see people talking, or you've achieved something, and like someone's now telling you, oh man, that's so good, you did this and all. So it's just like a movie. Yeah, short snippets of
Okay,
me.
okay, okay. So
Yeah.
so so you are saying cinematics is during those times, let's say when you are playing a game and
Yes.
something happens where they need to remove focus from the main player and you
Yes.
watch a bit of
Yes.
video around that.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, that is
Yes, I'm sure
interesting.
you just wanted me to talk. So,
So, okay. So, for level design, we are just speaking strictly about the actual environment,
yes, yes,
like chairs, tables,
yes. The map,
the map.
the game, how the player is supposed to follow through. Like okay, from here to here, here to
Do you
there.
have a story writer, something like that, like someone that puts together the story?
Okay, yes. Ideally, in gaming, I mean, there are people who are writers, storytellers, and in our case, we told our story ourselves.
Yes.
We didn't particularly write. No, we did write. Funny enough, we even had a storyboard. So yes, we did all that
Was any
storyboarding.
interesting?
Yeah.
Was any guy involved in any of that?
No,
Is that not discriminatory?
No, it's not, because from the onset it was a woman's program. So
Okay.
it's not. I mean, I'm sure there are like
Many,
yeah.
I don't know, game developer or game development teams that are just made of guys.
Yeah, and then guys and women. So
Yeah. Okay, interesting. So for me, I think it's quite interesting, like what you guys are doing. So is the program is supposed to last for how long, and is it that what you are creating will be the output for the program? Like, what's the goal?
okay, so we the program for our sets, the program started sometime in September and spanned through early November. Yes. So it's what we're creating. That's what, because we had mentors, we had people teaching us. So it's not just us coming from nowhere. We had mentors, like we had facilitators. So pretty much we're putting out a good work that it's playable.
So 100% virtual, the program.
Yeah, it's 100%. I mean, we had people from Pakistan, from Dubai, from India, from Ghana, from Nigeria. So
That have been a great cross-cultural experience.
it
To be
was
honest,
actually, it
to be able
was.
to do that.
Yeah, and then dealing with the time zone, because we're working with the Indian time, and then we had to, like, because their 9 o'clock was like our 4:30.
Yeah,
And
I think they are like 4.5 hours away.
yeah,
or
ahead of
something.
us.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But
Work
it
with
was
a
a
lot
good
of them.
experience.
Right. Interesting. You talked about the environment you guys were developing on. I think you said Unreal
Yes, and real editor for
Editor.
Fortnite.
Great. And for Unreal Editor, you said something about there are already a lot of assets in there
Yes,
that you can just utilize.
yes. And then it helps you to publish directly into Fortnite. You publish directly into Fortnite.
Does that not make it? Does that not like put some sort of uniformity to all the games that would be published?
No.
Because if everyone that works on there is working from that same asset, then there might be a sort of uniformity across board.
Yeah, I understand that totally, but like maybe if 1 million people were creating games, certainly there might be some uniformity. But during our program, we were like 100 women who were admitted into the program, and we were like put into teams. So in my team, we were like 5 or 6, if I'm not mistaken. And then we got to see different games from different people, and none of them had any similarity.
I see.
None.
So when it comes to, for example, stones, I'm assuming there are like 1,000 stones you can pick from.
And yeah, and aside 1,000 stones, they're editable.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say that.
Yes.
So is the editing happening on the Unreal Editor, or can you edit on Blender?
No. You can't take out their assets.
I know.
So
If
I mean,
not,
yeah. So,
if not, they will find it on Turbo Squid.
Yeah.
for
So you
everyone.
can't take out their assets. You have to use it there. So there's a whole lot. Like some persons built games that were like in space. Some persons built like in an urban city. Us, we built it like in, how would I put it? Like an ancient underdeveloped village. Ours was a village.
What culture was it modeled after?
Our game. Funny enough, because now that you asked, I know the name of our village was called the Irene Forest. I don't know where they got that from. I don't know if it was relating to their culture, but
So they are meaning Indian.
yes, could be from the Middle East people, but yeah. So it wasn't really, or maybe it was fictional. Probably fictional, I don't know.
Yeah, but even if it's fictional, like it needs to still be modeled around a certain sort of
Yes,
culture. If you are
yes.
saying it, if there are buildings there now, for example, like what sort of buildings? But I think we've beat that horse to a large extent. Apart from that, are there any projects that you've worked on recently? Because I know I saw that you've worked with a like wide range of people, of brands. So apart from Unreal, is there anyone you've worked with again? You mentioned your current brand. Like when I say current brand, I mean the people you currently work for
Yeah.
or with. What are they called?
Okay, so am I allowed to call my company's name?
Yes, no, why not?
Okay, so I currently work with Accelerate TV. Yes. So we create movies. I mean, you should check it out. We have an app, Accelerate Plus app. So we're trying to like compete with the likes of Netflix, Showmax, and all that. And we also have our channels on YouTube. We create really nice movies and and content.
First time I'm hearing about them.
No, have you seen this very famous comedy show, Visa on Arrival, with Bovi, with
I don't watch Nigerian movies, so
oh
I'm
my
sorry.
gosh, no,
I'm
that
sure.
it's a comedy show.
I'm sure many
You should
people
check
have
it
seen
out.
it, yeah.
I'm sure even if you haven't watched it, by the time you check it out, I'm
You
sure
have
you
seen a
must have
clip or
come
something.
across it on social media.
Interesting.
So,
So, what role do you feel there?
oh, I'm an editor. Yeah.
Interesting. So, what sort of content? Because you said you are trying to, that's Accelerate, is trying to like be a competitor to Netflix
Yeah.
and co. So, what sort of content do you guys create or are hoping to create?
Okay, so we're all about creating African content, telling African stories. So that's it. We're telling lots of African stories, showcasing Africa to the world.
Do you see yourself applying your 3D skills in there at any time?
Okay, yeah. Because I'm currently, I don't know if you know of this program, this Del York and MasterCard. So I'm currently enrolled for the animation program. So I'm hoping to like pick up fully animation so that, yes, so we could create some animated short content and all that.
Do you enjoy working for Accelerate?
Yeah. So what if I didn't enjoy? What do you want me to say?
No, you can let your CEO know now.
Oh my days. I love working with Accelerates.
She's lying.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. You said something about the currency difference, like in terms of working for an external company. Accelerate is not external, so I would assume that they are not paying in dollars. If they are paying in dollars, please let me know.
No. But I'm sure you're earning dollars. So
So which means you pick up projects outside like the normal workspace, correct?
Yeah, when they're available, yes.
When they're available.
Yes.
So what sort of how do you go about trying to source for projects? Because one of the key things that I know that creators face, even people that are trying to learn Blender now, when they're learning it, they will say, oh, after I finish learning this thing, I'll start making money immediately. I'm even learning it because I want to make money.
Obviously.
So, no, you can't say if they are lucky because they will just become demotivated. You can make money from learning Blender.
Yeah, you will make money.
The point is now, what sort of ways should they explore to make money? Like what sort of opportunities? How did you get the few opportunities or many that you explored?
So there are lots of ways you could, first of all, like I said, you have to have a good portfolio. You have to know what you're doing because they usually give you a task, give you technical specifics that they want to see, and then they give you a time frame hoping you can deliver. So a lot of places, first of all, you have to showcase your work. There's ArtStation, and on ArtStation, there are lots of jobs, even for like entry roles, junior roles. Also on Upwork, you can also bid for jobs on Upwork, on Fiverr. And then on LinkedIn, LinkedIn's a good place. You get to see people posting it's a community where like professionals are like putting up jobs and all that. So.
Oh, okay. So, everyone has to improve their portfolio.
Yes.
At least you need to make sure you have an edge.
Yes, you have something worth paying for.
And there are also platforms you can explore where you could get those opportunities.
Yes.
And one of them is ArtStation, like you mentioned.
Like I mentioned.
Are there any other places they could explore opportunities? Apply for jobs, I guess.
Yeah. There are lots of, you know them, so you should tell them.
I think there's a bit of luck to it. Right?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So throughout my own career, I've worked for, apart from like jobs outside, for other companies. My main roles have been in PwC, which was fantastic, and now MTN. I would say there was a grill to it. There was like a passion and a fight towards getting those, all well and good. But I do not attribute those just to hard work. I still feel like there's an element of luck to it.
Yes. So
Yeah.
how did you get the MTN one? So tell us.
uh,
I particularly am interested. So
Okay, so for me, when I was still at PwC, I knew I had a set time. When I got in, I knew, I was going to spend 3 years here and I wanted to leave. And when that time was getting close, I needed to think about where was the place that I could make the highest impact. And after scouting through all companies in Africa, to be honest, I isolated MTN long before I even came in contact with MTN at all. So I isolated MTN in terms of, I saw their 2025 goal in terms of converting from a telco to a technology company. And I knew that because I like finding myself in a place where I know I could make maximum difference. PwC, I also joined them. I got employed with them when I was still an undergraduate. And they were establishing, I don't know if you know the Experience Center, but I hope you visit someday. It's right here at VI.
yeah,
So
I know
unlike
someone who works there. I'm sure you know her.
Faida.
Yes, this is
Interesting.
my friend.
Yeah. So so the Experience Center was established to basically focus on emerging technologies. And what they were looking at then, 5 years ago, was they needed to get skills around AR, VR, blockchain, IoT, the emerging technologies. And they're looking across the ecosystem in Nigeria and Africa to say, where can we actually get AR, VR developers? Around that time was the time when I was just finishing school, was not done completely with school, and I was deeply into Unity. Modeling with Maya, pushing out projects, going out for competition, and they came
That's
across my
cool.
work, right? So they came across some of my work, not even the director who was at the...
No,
Zai.
certainly not me.
I wanted to say,
Yeah.
not even the director who was at that came across my work. It was someone also in PwC that then called and said, "Oh, you are looking for AR VR developers. I found one," and she called me and we talked a bit about it. I also sent a friend of mine's portfolio. They were good with it. We came in, we did, like you said, a lot of work. They first said, model the experience center, like sit down, you have 2 hours, model the experience center, deploy to VR, which was virtually impossible. But at least we got to an extent where they were really impressed. And that was how I got into
awesome.
PwC. And also MTN, seeing that, they were trying to convert
Did you
to a
approach
technology
them?
company. Yeah, it was quite interesting. So I already started my approach long before I met someone that was key there.
Oh, that's
So my
cool.
approach first was LinkedIn, 100%. Started messaging the top of the top people I could see there. I first
You're
did
radical.
I first did like a PowerPoint presentation of like,
Wow,
you
that's
guys had
awesome.
a goal of converting from a telco to a technology company. These are the activities that technology companies do, and this, I think, AR, VR, and metaverse can fit into the activity. Started sending them messages with no response, but luckily for me, they were also interested in how would they cause that innovation internally. Then they came to PwC to say, how can we? So my last couple of months at PwC was actually spent at MTN before switching.
So
to
are you
MTN.
saying your people at PwC was like, oh, let our star employee go? I mean, without no hard feelings, because I'm sure you were very impactful. Are you just like,
There was
I'm
there was
going,
no hard feelings. There was no hard feelings.
That's
Well,
good.
first and foremost, as much as you would try to keep people that are supposedly stars, because I don't see myself as a star, you still need to respect their goals,
And their
right?
growth.
And there are some times where they've also paid their dues to an extent in terms of, like we've put hard work into this,
Yeah.
we've created something amazing. Now is the time to move. No one is saying I'm not going to end up back in PwC, maybe as a director or as a partner, right? But as at that moment in time, it was actually time to switch. And
That's
I'm glad I'm
awesome.
here at MTN. It has
That's
not been
it.
easy because
But it
they
has been
have,
worth it, I'm sure.
yeah, of course, 100%. Because, and I think for every experience that we gain, I actually feel like it's training us for something bigger.
Yeah.
So wherever it is, I always have that feeling. So at PwC, I felt like it was preparing me for this, though it did not really prepare me fully, because there is a difference between being at a B2B company, because PwC was business focused. They were serving businesses.
Yeah.
MTN is customer focused. So the ecosystem there, the work volume, how you needed to work and deliver, the sort of things you attract is quite different, right? And yeah, I still feel like I'm still learning. Yeah.
No,
Till the last
it's
day,
always a learning process.
till the last day, I feel like I'm
Yes.
learning.
That's beautiful.
How do you balance the personal life and, I won't say 3D modeling, but all things around the tech skills? So how do you balance both?
Okay, I'd say it hasn't been easy because currently work is always going to be demanding, and then trying to work full time and trying to learn, trying to master your skills. I mean, if you don't have that drive, if you don't have that goal, that vision, like, okay, I want this, it's not even been easy. Like I said, I'm starting an animation class. So I'm going to be going to Oshodi every Saturday after working I won't even say 9 to 5 because you
Are
always
you teaching or you are learning?
I'm learning animation.
Interesting.
I mean, that's what I want to learn, to master it, because I mean, I model now, but I'm not much of an animator, so I want to like master that and learn that.
Oshodi, like what class? Like who are the people teaching?
I don't even know, but I mean, I'm just happy to get any knowledge I can. I mean, it's free, so why not?
I wanted to say, are you paying for it?
No, I'm not. It's free, so why not?
Would you be interested in passing down your knowledge?
Yeah, sure.
Are you familiar? Do you know the African XR community?
I know the AR/VR. Which is it? The one at Yaba, or is there like?
There is a different one.
Yes,
So
I
there's
think
the
your
AR
community.
VR, yeah.
Yes.
Mine is African XR community. There's AR VR, which is also known as Emisi 3D.
Yes, Emisi.
They do amazing work.
So
there.
I've been there, yeah, a couple of times
also
for
been
some
there.
classes. I've also volunteered, flew them to schools to teach children with the headset. So I'm more familiar, but yours is I think I got, funny enough, I've always been seeing you on people's feed, like, you know, when someone who you're connected with reposts, I've always been seeing you and all that. And oh, nice work, this guy is doing nice. So I was actually surprised that you like sent me a connect. And then I was even more surprised when they're like, okay, Baba today has a show and then he's inviting me for a podcast. I'm like, okay.
So balancing, you are here to tell us.
It's not easy. It's not easy. I'm not even going to lie. It's not easy. Even working full time is not easy. Then trying to like now learn something new, master something new. But you should always like see yourself. Where are you trying to go to? What are you trying to achieve? So that's it. That should be. So you just have to like dedicate that time and know that okay, it's just for a while.
Okay, so lastly, what advice would you give to like young ladies that are trying to break into the 3D modeling space, animation, creative space as a whole?
Well, I would say, first of all, you just have to apply yourself. I mean, look at his story. He was the one who was putting himself out there, you know, emailing people. So nothing's going to drop on your laps on a platter of gold. You have to fight for it. You have to work for it. So, and then in work, you know, and you shouldn't, I don't like, women shouldn't have the victim mentality, like, oh, what will I learn from? Who's going to teach me? There's nobody and all that. So there are lots of programs now out there empowering women. I've been a recipient of like 2 of them. And in fact, I even learned video editing through one of those programs, a women empowered program years ago. So you just have to like put yourself, the journey is not going to be easy, but you have to fight for what you want. So that's it.
Right. I really appreciate not having the victim mentality.
No.
Right. Yeah. No one is saying the discrimination does not exist.
Yes.
It exists and it's obvious. I think the whole world knows it. But even in the face of it, I think one needs to fight through.
Yes, you always have to
Right.
conquer.
Thank you very much for coming on the show.
All right. Thank you so much for having me.
I hope to speak again soon.
Yeah, sure.
Bye.
Bye.